This is part 8 of our Link to the Past 100% walkthrough, and in this part we're going through the third dungeon in the game, the Tower of Hera.
There you
Red.
go. There you go.
And, well, that's basically what we'll be doing the whole part. So,
yeah. And it's of the 3 main Light World dungeons, I think it is the best.
Oh, I agree with you right there. Like, we're not really including Hyrule Castle. That we'll be going back to here in a little bit. That's, it's a dungeon, but I wouldn't consider it a main dungeon in the game.
Yeah.
It's more of like a central hub, I think, in the game. So, I'd agree with you. I guess the best out of pendant dungeons.
There you go.
That's the best out of pendant dungeons in the Light World.
Now, and part of it's just, it's kind of fun going, now I'm screwing up.
Yeah. If y'all didn't know, like, when we started, and I was like, there you go, Red. Like, before we started, I actually screwed up. I said, what, Tower of Hera?
Tower of Hera.
Tower of Hera, something like that. And Red was busting my chomp, so I had to make sure I spit that part out in this one.
But what I was trying to say is, I like the idea of going through a tower for a dungeon, like up on top of this mountain, and it's got several floors that we'll be working our way up and occasionally back down. So it's just a really cool concept, I thought.
You know, kind of going along with that, like, even though you can't see the mountain, like, forget the tower.
Yeah.
Like, if it's just one floor, just doing a dungeon on top of a mountain just gives it that certain feeling like
it does.
You're just somewhere that's, like, epic.
And I just love that feeling. And plus, this place looks very decorated. Like, well, not so much these floors, but like the walls and floors. You know, some of the statues we saw in that first entry room, and then we got these torches and stuff that we see. It just looks like it's someone's really nice tower up here.
I hate this room. I'm sorry.
Oh, I do
like,
too.
I've always not been a fan. I've not been a fan of the floor tile rooms because they just take way too long and they're not hard at all. But like this dungeon, it can be very short, or it actually can be very long.
Yep.
If you know where you're going, like we do, obviously, because we're doing a walkthrough, it's very short. But I mean, if you get lost in this dungeon, or like you'll see these switches later on.
Yes.
I mean, it can take quite a while.
And that's the thing, like always trying to remember what color the switches need to be to have certain tiles raised.
There's also the star switches,
and then
the
star switches later on. You can be forced to backtrack a lot, which can really add some time to this dungeon. Like you said, we kind of know what we're doing, so for us, it's
I hope so. We're doing 100% walkthrough, so I would hope we would go in and know what we were doing.
Yeah, so for us, it only takes us about six and a half minutes to get through.
Not very long.
Which, again, it makes it probably the shortest of the first couple dungeons, but again,
still that's why it's the most enjoyable.
Exactly.
Because we can get through it the fastest.
Yeah, but again, if you don't know what position to have, not only the tiles, but like the star switches later on, it can definitely extend.
Now, the switches aren't too hard. Like, you saw us change it right there, but I think you really get to this point where you just leave it on. I'm not going to say it, because I don't know. But you leave on this one switch, and then you pretty much go through like the last 3 or 4 floors with that switch up. So
it's probably similar to, close to what we're at.
I just like that main room, kind of like going back to the Desert Palace. Like, we had a main room that was a little bit more open. Like, you can go a couple different ways.
Yep.
We also get that at the Tower of Hera. You can go in either side, or you can go back to the back and go somewhere.
Yeah, plus I like it's like one goes down, one goes up. You know, it gives you some options right off the bat. Again, it's not the most linear dungeon. You know, you kind of have some options of where you can go. Now, one thing I do hate are these enemies.
Yeah, the hard hat beetle. I've never been a fan of them. And the main reason is they like knock you back so far.
They really do.
And like when you have holes in the floor, like that can be a real pain. Like the best strategy I've always found is just to outmaneuver them.
Just run around.
Yeah, just trying to like, put a little juke on right there. Now, if that would have been high school, I would have got sacked.
Yeah,
but
You're using the Madden stick. You're using the Madden stick.
the Madden stick.
Well, it takes 3 or 4 hits to kill them. I think it's 3, and then like you said, they knock you back so far with the holes in the floor. It's just like you said, it's easier just to run around.
We cannot really control, like, okay, if you hit him straight on, then you go straight backwards. But if you hit him at like an angle, like they kind of like hit you back diagonally. So like, I mean, really, unless you're against the wall, you don't know where you're going to go when you actually hit those things.
Exactly. So I guess it is kind of a nice preview for the boss of this dungeon, who also knocks you back when you hit him.
Oh, that is very true. We'll get to the boss when we get, or talk about the boss when we get there, because
we'll rip on
everybody knows about this boss if you played this game. If you haven't, then it's kind of it's easy, but it's a pain. But going back to the main room in the dungeon, I also really like this room right here.
Huge.
Just like how huge it is, and like not a lot going on, but a lot, like in the dungeon really for how short it is.
I know. And plus, it feels like this room takes up like the entire floor plan. Like it's just massive.
And the room above it.
And the room above it.
really, all these main rooms take up like a majority of the floor plan, I guess you could say.
Yeah. Now it is kind of cool. Like if you knew where to have those switches, and to make sure you fall from the top
part of that
so
thing.
you don't fall down.
If you fall from the bottom of that little hole, like you'll land on the stars, and then I think you'll actually fall down again. So it's just a pain. So very important to fall through the top part of that hole right there.
Now the dungeon item that we get from that is just terrible.
And I kind of finished up the last part. I was going to talk about it, and I realized that I had like 6 seconds. So I kind of had to cut myself off. But I hate the item. I hate the item. Like, I understand it's necessary in the game. It makes us like keep our form when we go to the dark world,
so we don't get turned into Bunny Link.
But Nintendo, just take the mechanic away. Don't change us when we go to the dark world. Just,
I agree.
Like, let's be who we are, and then just like give us a better weapon there, and just. I mean, it's a great dungeon, and just a very disappointing item.
It really is, and like you said, it's only in there to justify, changing your form when you first go to the dark world, which I think is a pointless mechanic. I think it's stupid.
Now I start off that fight really strong right there by just jumping straight onto Moldorm.
But Moldorm,
great strategy.
Yeah, Moldorm, as we mentioned, is just such an annoying fight. He's not necessarily that difficult from like he's gonna kill you standpoint.
No, he's not going to.
But getting knocked off this platform just totally resets his health.
And like you said, he knocks you back so far.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really hard. Like, even if he does hit you, it's hard to stay on.
Yep.
If you fall down that middle hole right there, that takes you, I believe, I don't know how far, but I think you fall a couple levels.
You do.
But just like, I actually got lucky right there and beat him on the first try. But a very difficult boss, really more frustrating than anything else. Because like you said, if he knocks you off, like you actually spot or you drop down, like where a lot of hearts are. But just
that helps at least.
Yeah,
but thankfully we killed him on the first try.
Easy work.
In our recording. So this wraps up the Tower of Hera and part 8 of Link to the Past.